Yeah, all right. So, good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Vibal Group for giving me the opportunity to share my little knowledge about research. So, the topic that I would like to discuss with the group is about meeting international research standards, the demands of the fourth industrial revolution. Because you know what, nowadays, it is important that when we write a research paper, we do not put them in our bookshelves. We do not gather them in the library just to gather dust. It is important that we publish our research paper. So the question now is either we publish or we perish. Because however good you are, if you do not publish your research paper, after some time, you will be forgotten. And there are so many sleeping giants in the Philippines. When I say sleeping giants, they're very good, they're full of wisdom, full of knowledge. However, they do not publish their research paper to the point that there will come a time that they will be forgotten. So, my objectives for today is to give you a micro and macro global trends and issues related to teachers' research productivity. You know what? When you say research productivity, that has been a global problem from basic education up to higher education. We will discuss about problems encountered by teachers in terms of research. And of course, since we are in the Industrial Revolution 4.0, it is necessary that we update ourselves with the 21st century research process. So, kung meron kayong alam na lumang research process, I am pleading everyone to please forget muna for the meantime, because I'll be discussing with you the 21st century research process. So why is there a need for us to conduct a research? Because it has been the national policy of CHED, not just CHED, even the Department of Education, to enhance research in the Philippines. Alam na alam yan ng mga listeners ko ngayon. I would like to greet my students in the graduate school that they know how important research is. Because research, as required by CHED, is among the 4 primary functions or quadrifocal functions of all higher education institutions in the Philippines. Kung dati, 3 lang, trifocal functions, this time, naging 4 na siya. So what are the 4 primary functions? First, the institution must be providing quality instruction. Second, the institution must be able to provide a sustainable community services to the poor. And third, of course, research that is international in nature. Yung pang-apat na nadagdag ngayon is productivity. The HEIs are expected to produce graduates that are employable and productive at the same time. That is why CHED is requiring HEIs to come up with tracer study to determine the whereabouts of our students and to determine also whether the programs that HEIs are offering have impacted the graduates. And research is one of the equally important requirements in all accreditation activities. If you belong to higher education institution that are public, meron silang tinatawag na Accrediting Agency of Chartered Colleges and Universities in the Philippines, or what they call AACO. We also have PACOCOA, no? PAASCO, and even ISO. They are asking for research productivity and research publication. For some higher education institutions, they really ensure that research is in place because that is one of the bases in maintaining the university status. Research is also a primary requirement in getting or getting an award for being an autonomous or deregulated status, getting a center of excellence. If you would like your program to be accredited, especially now that CHED has released a CMO number 15 series of 2019, where research will now be a prerequisite. Take note, hindi lang basta research. For you to graduate, you must have a research publication. That is now the new CHED Memorandum Order. And in determining the quality of any institution, research is one of the bases. In a study conducted by Bernales in 2016, he puts forward that in assessing the research culture of a higher education institution, the following components should be considered. One, there should be a research capability, meaning to say that the personnel, the faculty members, the teachers are capable of doing research, because I believe in the saying that you cannot give something if you do not have. Meaning, you cannot write research if you do not know something about research. Another one, research outputs. An institution should have research outputs. And what is more important nowadays is the dissemination of the research findings, because dissemination will tell you of the quality of the paper that you produce. If you were able to publish your research paper, if you were able to present the findings of your research paper in any forum, in any colloquium, then there is a big possibility that the findings of your study can be utilized. That's why meron tinatawag na research utilization. That's according to Bernales. In 2012, when I conducted my dissertation paper, I found out that researchers' capability also, no? Advisors mentoring, which means to say that there should be a mentor that is qualified. No? There are so many PhDs, there's so many MA graduates, but they do not have the capability to mentor or to guide the researcher. So it is important that a qualified advisor is present. Another thing, there should be schools' financial and infrastructure support. Because for you to conduct a research, my dear colleagues, you need to have funds. No? Hindi ka pwedeng gumawa ng research na wala kang pera. Bakit? Yung pagre-reproduce mo pa lang ng paper mo, kailangan mo na ng pera. No? Infrastructure. You need to have a research laboratory, computer, software such as grammar, scanner, plagiarism, SPSS, and the like. No? Because these things can support significantly and can influence teachers' research productivity. That's according to my study in 2012. 87% of faculty members nowadays indicated that they do their research only during summer recess and holidays, while only 13% do it during the academic year, according to Howard in 2015. Bakit? Pag tinanong mo sila, bakit hindi ka makagawa ng research? They would answer you, they lack research time. They do not have time because napakadami ng kanilang teaching load. Napakadami nilang ng forms na inuuwi nila at i-check nila. At magko-compute pa sila ng grades pag uwi nila. And take note, if you are a family man or a family woman, pagdating mo, mag-aasikaso ka pa ng pamilya mo, magpapakain ka pa ng mga anak mo, ng asawa mo, etc., etc. So meaning to say, that one of the important requirements in writing a research is time. Because writing and conceptualizing a research paper would require time for you to read a lot of literature. That is why the lack of research time available to faculty during the academic year leaves them with only breaks or summer to resume their research. And now that we are in the pandemic crisis and we are all locked down or naka-home quarantine tayo, I think this is the perfect opportunity for everyone to do research. Let us make use of our time wisely. This is the perfect time that we can do research. Now, according to Bernardo in 2007, the Philippines is facing one of the greatest challenges in restructuring our higher education institutions to compete globally, especially in the area of research. Lagi naman ganun eh. We fail to compete globally. Hindi lang sa instruction, hindi lang sa reading ability, yung last PISA result, nasa bottom na naman tayo. Because in the Philippines, most of the universities are teaching universities as opposed to being research universities. Kasi sa higher education institution, yung mga traditional na administrators and teachers, ang ginagawa nila, magturo lang. Kung ano yung nasa libro, tinuturo lang. But they do not know, we do not know, we educators do not know that part of our role is to conduct research. Na dapat ang instruction at ang research, they are connected. The findings of research must be disseminated and directed to instruction. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka magtuturo sa mga estudyante mo na hindi galing sa research. Lahat ng findings ng research ay dapat sinishare natin sa mga estudyante natin. And take note, the informations that we should be sharing to our students when we teach them should be updated. And updated informations can only be gotten from research articles or research findings. So that's the problem that Bernardo found out in 2007. And if there are faculty members here, if there are researchers who are here and who are working in higher education institutions, this is one of our greatest challenges, that we only ask our teachers to teach. We do not ask them to do research out of their teaching. There should be research outputs, in short. So therefore, the conduct of research is one of the essential requirements if we are in the higher education institution and basic education. If we would like to become educators, we should be scholarly in nature. And being a scholar, meaning to say, you read a lot of literature and you do a lot of research. And you conduct a research, not just a research, but you publish the research output. Kasi nga, the trend now is either you publish or you perish. That's why if we educators will not publish our research paper, sabi ko nga kanina, however good we are, there will come a time that we will be forgotten. We should publish our wisdom, the talents and the skills and the findings that we were able to discover should be disseminated so that future researchers can have an access and can utilize the findings of your study. That's why the conduct of research, especially publication, is now becoming one of the qualifications if you would like to become an educator. And research for some schools that are very good is one of the parameters in evaluating the performance. Ibig sabihin, yung mga big schools, no? Mas magaling ka kapag marami kang research. And of course, in graduate education, there are schools that are already implementing that before you graduate, you need to publish your research paper. I would like to mention UST, UP, LaSalle, and Ateneo. Yun yung mga naririnig ko na eskwelahan na before you graduate, you need to publish a research paper. That is why, along that line, CHED has come up with policies, standards, and guidelines. There is now a CHED Memorandum Order number 15, series of 2019, to be implemented immediately, that for you to graduate, dapat makapag-publish ka muna ng research paper. So now, if you would like to stay in the academe, either basic education or higher education, and if you would like to get further studies or degree, you must have the skill of publication. because publication in an internationally peer-reviewed journal is now the demands of IR 4.0. Gone are the days that we gather our research outputs in our desks, in our bookshelves, in the library. No, they will just gather dust. The trend now is we disseminate by publication. Because if future researchers will be able to read the findings of your study, there is a very high possibility that the findings can be utilized by future researchers. By the way, there are two ways in which the findings of the study can be utilized. One, future researchers can use the findings of your study. Or second, policymakers, when they make decisions, educators, administrators, when they make decisions, they should, all caps should, they should always base their decisions on research findings. Hindi dapat tayo gumagawa ng mga decisions nang hindi according sa evidences. It must be evidence-based. For example, in your school, you found out, you do a research on intelligence quotient and its relationship with academic performance. If you found out that the academic performances of your students are going low or very low, you must consider intelligence quotient as one of the contributory factor. Then you do a research. You correlate IQ and academic performance. And if your findings tell you that IQ is affecting the academic performance of the students, then you need first to assess the intelligence quotient of the students, because intelligence quotient pala is affecting the academic performance. Ano yung hypothesis mo dun? Ibig sabihin, the higher the intelligence quotient, the higher the academic performance. The lower the intelligence quotient, the lower the academic performance. So paano gagamitin ng educators yun, ng administrators yun? If the IQ of the student is somewhat low, you need to adjust the teaching strategy or the approach of pedagogy that you are using. Kasi hindi siya makakatch up. Pero yung mga matataas ang IQ, ibig sabihin, konting tulak mo lang dyan, konting reminder mo lang dyan, natututo na yan kasi mataas ang IQ niya. So that's how findings of the study is very important in utilization, especially in the academe. And of course, for research scholars, for future researchers, citation. If you were able to publish your research paper, future researchers can read your findings, and if your findings are relevant to their paper, there is a very good chance that your paper, that your findings will be cited. Kaya publication is one thing, citation and utilization is another thing. You will not be utilized and you will not be cited if you do not publish or if you do not disseminate. And that is now the demands of IR 4.0. If you are a researcher and you are wondering why there are very few Filipino articles that are published, and most of them are international, it's because hindi tayo sinanay na mag-publish ng research paper. Sa US, Europe, even other Asian countries like Hong Kong and Singapore, ang publication sa kanila normal na lang. Because this is now the demands of IR 4.0. And if you would like to know whether a person, a researcher, is claiming to be a researcher, then try to search Google Scholar. You go to Google Scholar, that is a website where all publications are summarized, and you will see how many publications are present for that person. How many citations or how many cited papers were already utilized by researchers. So modesty aside, hindi na po ako lalayo. As of now, My citations is 57. I still have H index of 5 and I10 index of 2. So that is your assignment to Google what H index and I10 index mean. But for now, I have to tell you that this will not happen, citations will not happen if you do not publish your research paper. That's the very first step. You need to publish a research paper. But publishing a research paper and doing a research paper is the fundamental task that we need to do. We need to come up with a publishable research paper. That is why meron tinatawag na 21st century research process. If you want your paper to be accepted in internationally peer-reviewed journals, you need to observe and to follow the scientific and acceptable research process. So there are 5 phases. For some of my students who are here, they are already familiar with this. So the first phase in conducting a research paper is conceptualization phase. When you conceptualize a research paper, there are 5 steps that you need to do. First, you identify a topic, followed by reviewing the literature, followed by hypothesis or proposition development, framework development, and objective formulation. So we will have a detailed discussion about conceptualization phase later on. After conceptualizing your research paper, that's the time that you proceed to design phase. Kumbaga, napag-isipan mo na yung gagawin mo, pupunta ka na doon sa dapat mong puntahan. No? Kumbaga sa giyera, pinlano mo na lahat ng na sundalo mo. Pagpunta mo doon sa giyera, ready na lahat ng sundalo mo. And that is the design phase. That is the research plan formulation. That is where you identify your research design. Either you're going to use quantitative, qualitative, or mixed. This is also the time that you identify your respondents and how you will select them, either probability or non-probability sampling design. This is the time also that you identify your instrument or data gathering tool. Are you going to adapt a reliable instrument? Ibig sabihin, may Cronbach's alpha na siya. Or you are going to develop your own instrument, pero ipapa-validate and iti-test mo pa siya for reliability. This is also the phase where you need to identify the different statistical tools that you need to use. Therefore, that is what you call design phase. So the conceptualization phase and the design phase are the phases for proposal. If you are done conceptualizing and identifying your design, pwede ka na po mag-proposal defense. Then after proposal defense, and if your paper has been approved by the panel member, that's the time that you proceed to empirical phase. Empirical phase would mean data gathering or data collection. Kasi nga, sa design phase pa lang, meron ka ng reliable instrument. Meron ka ng reliable questionnaire at alam mo na kung anong klaseng method ang gagawin mo. Therefore, pwede ka na mag-data gathering or data collection. Kaya lang, today that we are in the pandemic crisis, face-to-face data collection is not allowed. That is why, as an educator and researcher at the same time, we must be technologically savvy. Hindi lang po aware, savvy. Kasi there are so many platforms in which data gathering can be used. Meron tayong tinatawag na Google Docs, Google Forms, no? O ang pinakasimple ngayon, yung FB Messenger. Meron dyan gumagamit ng interview through Zoom. Kung wala talaga, yung cellphone mo na lang, tumawag ka na lang or tawagan mo na lang yung respondents mo. But the thing is, when you do the data gathering, we need to adapt now to the crisis, to the new normal, because you will not be able to finish your research paper if you will fail to conduct data gathering or data collection. After gathering your data, you need now to make sense of your data. And since we are now in the IR 4.0, by the way, sa ibang bansa, IR 5.0 na. Kaya dapat mag-adjust tayo. We need to move fast. IR 4.0 na. And when you say IR 4.0, technology-based lahat ngayon. That's why DepEd and CHED are now busy conceptualizing of the different approaches in teaching now that face-to-face learning is not allowed. No? That's why IR 4.0 is about online, is about the use of technology, is about the availability of internet connections. Because when you say data gathering, after gathering data, that's the time that you make sense of your data. In making sense of your data, you need to tabulate them. You need to do a statistical treatment. Gone are the days that you manually compute your statistics. Gone are the days that you memorize the formula of mean. Example, mean is equal to the summation of frequencies over capital letter N. Tapos na yun. Hindi na uso yun. Panahon pa ng hapon yun. Ngayon, all you need to do is a software. You have the data, input the data in the software, in just few clicks away, wala pang isang oras, meron ka ng result. Kasi yung result na yun, gagamitin mo sa analytical phase. Wala kang i-analyze kung wala kang data. The rule of thumb when you do the data analysis is that analysis must be aligned with the problems that you identify in your research paper. There are researchers who are presenting analysis that are not aligned with the problem statement. Ibig sabihin, kung ano lang po yung objective na sinet mo sa paper mo, yun lang po ang ipipresent mo na data, yun lang po ang i-analyze mo, at yun lang po ang i-interpret mo. At yun lang ang gagawin mo ng conclusion. Magkaka-align sila. Nothing more, nothing less. Because if you provide conclusions that are not data-based, ang tawag doon, chismis. Ang isang scholar po, ang isang matalinong tao, at ang isang researcher ay naniniwala sa evidence-based practice. Ibig sabihin, hindi naniniwala sa sabi-sabi ng kapwa. Ibig sabihin, para maniwala ka, dapat may data muna na ipinakita sa'yo. So we are in the academe and we are teaching our students to be rational. And being rational, ibig sabihin nun, critical thinker. Pag sinabing critical thinker, naghahanap muna ng ebidensya bago niya paniwalaan. No? Especially now that our students are millennial, ganyan sila ngayon. They are critical thinkers. You do not know, you may not know, when you do a lecture, for example, ang kaharap niyan, cellphone, habang nagle-lecture ka. At bakit? Naka-open, for example, yung Google niyan. At lahat ng sinasabi mo, chine-check niya kung totoo na po sa Google. And baka hindi mo alam, mas advanced pa yung nabasa niya sa'yo. So, we have no other option but to adapt the IR 4.0, the technology-based learning. What we do now is just to facilitate, even in research. I only facilitate the conduct of research. I do not do research for them. I only guide them. Because many of the references, many of the literature can be found online. Mamaya, bibigyan ko kayo ng mga sources kung paano kayo makapag-gather ng literature. Kasi hindi kayo pwede pumunta ng library ngayon. Sarado pa ang mga schools. No? And according to IATF, ang pagpunta sa library ay hindi pa pwede. So, what we can do? Online searching of literature. So that is what you call analytical phase. And of course, my favorite part of the research process, which most of the academicians, administrators, and researchers tend to forget, is the dissemination phase. Dissemination phase is the time when we communicate our findings. We communicate through publication and through attending to forum or colloquium or conferences and present the findings of our study. Because later on, as the term implies, it is a research process. it will go around again. It will move around again. The research findings or the researches that you publish will be used later by future researchers. Tingnan nyo yung conceptualization phase. Sa step number 2, when future researchers review the literature, then that's the time that you will be utilized. If you are really a scholar or a true researcher, you do not use unpublished articles. We only use published research articles, no? Because these published research articles are the true articles. Why? Nag-undergo kasi siya ng review process. Samantala, take note, ang review process noon, international. Yung mga thesis natin na nasa library, local review process lang yon. Mga taga doon lang sa school ang nag-review noon. That's why a true research must be able to enter the online publication if quality talaga yung research mo. So, that's the research process. The question now is how do we identify a topic, no? In the past, yung mga traditional or seasoned researchers sasabihin sa atin, punta ka sa library at mag-develop ka ng 3 titles. No? Napakahirap nun. Nang wala ka pang kaalam-alam at kinatatakutan mo ang research, and then the professor will tell you to develop 3 titles immediately, 3 titles. I think that is wrong. So now, I'm going to tell you how to come up with a title that is in accord with international standards. First, you do not develop title. You first identify a topic. Topic is also known as variables. Variables, kung napag-aralan nyo na, may be independent or dependent variables. IV and DV. Mag-refresh tayo. When we say dependent variable, this variable is dependent on the independent variable. And independent variable is affecting the dependent variable. For example, the teaching strategy is an example of independent variable. And the academic performance of the student is an example of dependent variable. So that's it. Meaning to say, that the academic performance pala can be affected by the teaching strategy of the teacher. So that's an example of topic. You need to have a very good topic. But when identifying a topic, you need to ask few questions, such as, what do I know about the topic? O ano ibig sabihin nito? That when you do a topic identification, you have to ensure yourselves that you are knowledgeable about the topic that you would like to work on. Sabi ko nga kanina, you cannot give something that you do not have. If you are a nurse and you are working on an education topic, pero hindi naman yun ang major mo, parang malabo yun. If you are an education major and you're working on a business topic or psychology topic, parang malabo din yun. So, the first thing that you need to do when you identify a topic is that you ask yourself, what should I know more about the topic just in case you are not knowledgeable? That is why one of the prerequisites in research writing is reading. The second prerequisite is reading. The third prerequisite is again reading. Meaning to say, pag gagawa ka ng research, wala ka pong gagawin kundi magbasa ng literature. Because when you write a research paper, you are not being asked about your own opinion. You are not being asked about your own experience. You are being asked about the gap in the literature. What is the gap or GAP in the literature? What is the problem in the literature? Kasi kasanayan, nakasanayan natin na pag sinabi nating problem natin sa school, problem ng coworkers natin, problem ng teachers, problem ng community, etc., etc. But the real research would talk about problem in the literature. That is why your next question is, what do previous studies say about my chosen topic? So step number 1 is topic identification. Step number 2, you review the literature. You search whether there is a gap. Take note po, maging scientific po tayo. Gap dapat po ang ginagamit natin. O, to be specific, research gap. Parang kayo, pag may problema kayo ng mag-asawa, ng mag-boyfriend, ng magkakaibigan, meron kayong gap. O, that is a problem. Ganon din sa research. When there is a problem in the literature, there is now a gap. Example, your field of study is educational management. You're in the masteral, for example. And then the major subjects that you have taken are this. I will read them one by one. Human behavior in organization, educational legislation and fiscal management, personnel management, instructional management, decision analysis, educational leadership. Halimbawa, those are the subjects that you have taken in your program. So meaning to say, dapat nakafocus ka lamang sa mga subjects na nakuha mo. Kasi nga, yan ang napag-aralan mo. Kasi nga, yan ang major mo. And then from among the major subjects that you have taken, for sure, you have one or two subjects that are very close to your heart. Talagang love na love mo yung subject na yun. Siguro dahil malapit sa puso mo yung topic or yung subject, or yung teacher siguro ay na-inspire ka at magaling magturo, so naging interesado ka. And that is what you call area of interest. Example, from among the subjects that are enlisted here, your area of interest is instructional management. Then, babalikan mo yung mga topics or mga variables na na-encounter mo doon sa area of interest mo. As I was saying before, a while back, let's say, for example, your favorite topic is teaching strategy and academic achievement. So bakit ka naging interested sa teaching strategy? Because you are now confused what to be used in teaching now. Is it traditional or online learning, flexible learning, blended learning, etc., etc.? So now you would like to know whether the current new normal teaching strategy would have an effect on academic achievement of the students. So meron ka ng IV and DV. Your independent variable is teaching strategy. O pwede mo yung i-specify, let's say, the use of online learning and its effect on academic achievement of the students. Ayan, may possible topic na kayo sa mga nasa graduate school dito. Now, ang tanong dyan, how well do I understand the concept in the chosen area of interest? So you have there excellent, very good, good, fair, and poor. Eh, syempre naman, area of interest mo na yan, tapos yan pa yung major mo, I am expecting that you will be checking either excellent or very good. Kasi naman, area of interest mo na yan, specialization mo na yan. So the bottom line of the story is that you do not work on a topic that is not within your cup or cup of tea, that is not within your line of specialization. Dapat alam na alam mo yun. Yung kahit nakapikit ka, kaya mo siyang i-discuss. Kasi during the defense, yung itatanong sa'yo, mas madalas yan tungkol sa topic na pinili mo. Tatanungin ka dyan. No? So I am expecting that you are excellent or very good in terms of your knowledge, no, sa topic na pinili mo. And that's the time that you review the literature. And in reviewing the literature, there are 3 types of literature. These are conceptual literature, research literature, and gray literature. What is conceptual literature? These are um, theories, Republic Acts, CHED Memorandum Orders, DepEd Orders, laws. Conceptual literature ang tawag doon. Halimbawa, gumamit ka ng Maslow's hierarchy of needs or the law of supply and demand. Or kung merong nurse dito, the Nightingale theory. Parang ganon. So yung theory na yon, that is part of conceptual literature. And according to research scholars, you will only use 10% of the conceptual literature. What is research literature? These are actual researches. Pag sinabi natin actual researches, may introduction, may methods, results, and discussion. In short, IMRAD. Naka-IMRAD siya. Bakit siya naka-IMRAD? Kasi naka-publish siya. Walang napapublish ng chapters 1 to 5 or chapters 1 to 4. Kaya yung mga traditional school na napapagamit pa rin ng chapters 1 to 5 at chapters 1 to 4, hindi sumasabay yun sa IR 4.0. Kasi dapat ikino-convert na unti-unti sa IMRAD format. Because when you publish your research paper, that's the time that it becomes research literature. And 90% of your literature must be coming from research literature. And none should be coming from the gray literature. Ano yung gray literature? Ito yung mga punong-puno pa ng, ng alikabok sa library na naka-hardbound, na ipinaglalaban na iba na dapat i-hardbound daw, na wala naman nagbubuklat. Tapos pagbukas mo ng hardbound, may nagkaroon ka pa ng paper cut kasi bagong-bago pala, wala pa nagbubuklat after 5 years. So bakit natin hindi inaalaw yun na gamitin? Kasi wala nagbabasa ng mga libro sa library. Our millennial students, would tend to go to Starbucks, connect to Wi-Fi, and browse articles online than go to the library and open thesis and dissertation. That's the trend now. Kaya ang Starbucks, punong-puno madalas yan nung wala pa yung COVID eh. Madalas dyan may mga dalang laptop, dyan nag-Wi-Fi, gumagawa ng thesis paper nila, dissertation paper nila. Minsan naman sa phone nila, nagbabrowse ng article. So that's the trend now that we need to adapt, no? Because gray literature should not be used. So again, 90% must be coming from research literature and 10% should be conceptual literature. The question now, is it possible that after some time, gray literature can be converted to research literature? The answer is a big yes. I-convert mo lang yung thesis mo or dissertation mo into IMRAD format at maghanap ka ng publication, ng journal publication. And then, that's the time na magiging part na siya ng research literature mo. Because the literature will be the basis in identifying a problem. Kasi sa totoong buhay lang, may dalawang klase lang po ng problema sa research. Blank spot and blind spot. These are the real problem indicators. So when we say blind spot, after reviewing the literature, example, your topic is about IQ and academic performance. Or I'm sorry, IQ and academic performance. After reading the literature, you found out that 20 authors proposed that IQ is not affecting the academic performance. However, there are 10 authors who found out that IQ is not affecting the academic performance. So there is a conflicting finding. Na sinasabi ng ibang authors nakaka-apekto yung IQ, sabi naman ng iba, hindi nakaka-apekto yung IQ. And that is what you call blind spot. That after you search the literature, you make sense of them, and you found out that there are conflicting literature. That is what you call blind spot. Meaning to say, a blind spot is discovered when there are so many articles published, but the findings are contradicting with one another. Ang tanong, sir, paano kung wala namang nagko-contradict na? 50 out of 50 articles nagsasabi that IQ is affecting the academic performance. Then there is no problem. Then there is no gap. Then there is no blind spot. And you need not to pursue that study anymore. Kasi proven na siya consistently. Ang gagawin mo na lang, i-adapt mo na lang yung findings na yon. So that is what you call blind spot. Blank spot happens when you identify a topic, for example, ang dependent variable mo is academic performance pa din. And the independent variable is being fashionable of a student. Meron kasi mga estudyante na hindi nakakapasok ng klase na hindi nag-aayos, fashionable sila. No? Na punong-puno ng colorete, mukha namumula, pisngi, etc. etc. Now your question is being fashionable contributory to the academic performance of the students? Yun ang parang initial hypothesis mo. So your IV is being fashionable of the students and your DV is academic performance. And then you search the literature. Kaya lang, hinalugad mo na lahat ng websites. Wala kang makitang literature about being fashionable and its relationship to academic performance. That is what you call blank spot. So ano ibig sabihin nito? When you discover a blind spot, your goal is to test the rejectability and acceptability of the hypothesis. Kaya pag sinabing blind spot, meron kang hypothesis testing. Statistical, and therefore, your design is quantitative research design. On the other hand, if you found out that your problem is a blank spot, then your goal is no longer to test the hypothesis kasi wala kang makita eh. Or kokonti lang eh. Your goal now is to generate new framework, new hypothesis. Hindi testing, generation. If your goal is to generate framework or hypothesis, then you do a qualitative research design. So I hope that is clear kasi there are many misconceptions, no? There are malpractices about the conduct of research. Yung iba gagawa ng research, hindi pa nakapag-review ng literature, sasabihin kagad nila qualitative gagawin nila. Hindi pa nga nila alam kung may blind spot na, sasabihin nila quantitative kagad. Mali. Kaya nga sa research process, pangalawa pa lang yung research design, yung design phase. Sa conceptualization phase, malalaman mo muna kung blind spot or blank spot ang iyong gagamit, ang iyong problem. Eh what if naman you were able to discover two kinds of problems, both blank spot and blind spot, nag-mix, nag-merge. So that's the time na pwede ka na gumamit ng mixed method. Because the goal of mixed method is to supply or to support your quantitative data through qualifying, through qualitative data. So that is what you call mixed method. Again, research design is a very lengthy topic. 1 hour lang ang binigay sa akin ng Vibal, kaya hindi ko siya pwedeng i-discuss in detail. Now, as I was saying, literature review is very important. And some websites would require you access. Ibig sabihin, they will require you user ID and password. Pero meron ako ibibigay sa inyo na hindi nyo kailangan ng user ID and password. You can download as many articles as you want. We call it DOAJ or Directory of Open Access Journals or DOAJ.org. So all you need to do tingnan nyo rito, may space dito, may search engine dito. I-type nyo lang yung topic na na-identify ninyo. Kaya importante meron kayong IVDV. Bawa, i-type nyo, Teaching Strategy and Academic Performance. And then after that, you click search, itong search na to. After clicking that, you will be led to another page where related articles are going to be shown to you. In our case, teaching strategy and academic achievement in DOAJ, there are 115 articles related to that. Kaya usually sa masteral, 50 lang ang nire-require ko. No? Sa doctoral, 100. Oh. May sobra pa. Kung nasa masteral ka, may sukli ka pang 65. Kung nasa doctoral ka naman, may sukli ka pang 50, may sobra ka pang 15. Free access yan. Hindi mo kailangan ng user ID and password. But there are schools who are purchasing online resources. Meron tinatawag tayo na EBSCO host, kung narinig niyo, Sage Journal, etc. etc. So maraming websites na pwede niyong puntahan at makapag-download ng articles. Yung Google Scholar, libre lang din yun. Swerte kayo pag nandun yung full paper. Teka lang, balikan ko lang po yung sa DOAJ. You will notice na meron ditong abstract at pwede nyo rin i-download yung full text. Ayun ang maganda. Kahit nasa bahay kayo, nakakapag-download kayo ng articles. At anywhere you are, you can read them anytime basta meron kayong technology. Kung meron kayong Android phone, pwede nyo i-save sa Android phone yan. Kung meron kayong laptop, pwede nyo i-save sa laptop yan. So bakit kailangang basahin ang abstract? Kasi when you look for blind spot and blank spot, ang hahanapin nyo ron, findings, especially sa blind spot. Usually, ang abstract, it has 4 major components. Ano ba yung components ng abstract? First, meron siyang objective. Second, meron siyang design. Third, findings. And fourth, conclusions. Yan yung laman ng abstract. So, yung pangatlo lang ang babasahin po ninyo. The findings of the study are very important because that will tell you whether there is a blind spot or not, or none. Ito yung sa EBSCO. May access kasi ako sa EBSCO. Pero syempre, hindi ko pwede ipamigay yung ID and password kasi yung ibang school, binabayaran yan. That is about 500,000 a year subscription. So if in case maka-access ka sa EBSCO, napakadaming databases na pwede mong puntahan. All you need to do is to click all of this, select all of them, and then you will be led to this page, EBSCO host, na kung saan merong search engine. So ang gawin mo lang, type mo yung teaching strategy and student achievement, and then there you go. Mabibigyan ka na naman ng maraming articles about your topic. Take note ha, topic. Wala pa tayo sa title. Hindi ka magde-develop ng title right away. Again, topic identification and review of literature. Kasi before ka mag-finalize ng topic mo, dapat meron mo ng gap sa literature. And determining the gap in the literature will take and eat a lot of time. Kaya nga ang researcher, kailangan yan space. Kailangan yan maraming time. Kasi palabas yan ng mga researchers. Nagbabasa sila at naghahanap ng mga findings, ng mga conflicting findings. Alright? And you are lucky kung meron ka mga makikitang mga PDF full text. Ayan, pwede mo siyang i-download. And when you download them, usually meron siyang title, meron nandyan yung authors ng article, and then the abstract of the article. Tingnan niyo yung abstract ko, napaka-easy lang. Kung nag-uumpisa pa lang kayo, abstract lang muna basahin nyo, then hanapin nyo yung findings. And then meron yung introduction, ito yung introduction yan. No? So kaya ang tawag natin doon is IMRAD format. I am praying na sana dumating ang panahon ang Pilipinas ay mag-adapt na sa IMRAD format sa mga schools. Hindi na yung mga 1 to 5 at hindi na yung mga hardbound na after some time makikita mo sa basurahan, itinapon kung saan-saan. Sana IMRAD na at hindi maitatapon kasi may ipapublish siya, available siya online, anytime, anywhere. So I think the summary of our discussion is about reading the literature. It is important that we read a lot of literature because the literature will provide us possible claims or hypotheses or propositions. And as I've said a while back, when we say something, it must be evidence-based. Kasi ako galit na galit ako sa mga chismosa. Yung mga chismosa na yan, yung mga nagsasabi ng walang pinanggagalingan na ang mga sinasabi nila. When you say evidence-based, you must be able to connect your evidence to the literature. Kaya tingnan nyo, no? Unconsciously, may nabuong icon. When you do your research properly, at the end of the day, or kahit in the end of the day, nag-uumpisa ka pala na research mo, nakasmile ka palagi. Kaya hindi totoo na ang research ay mahirap. Madali lang po ang research kung tama po yung proseso na ginagawa natin. Madali lang po ang research kung tayo ay may time magbasa ng literature. Because reading is the very prerequisite in conducting a research paper. All right? So for example, you have here employee's job commitment as your dependent variable. And you would like to know whether employee's job satisfaction, employee's motivation, school rewards, and demographic characteristics would have an effect on job commitment. Yung check dyan, ang ibig sabihin niyan, merong significant effect. Yung X, ang ibig sabihin, walang significant effect. No? To further explain, 15 authors found out that employees' job satisfaction does not significantly affect their job commitment. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng conflicting findings. Kasi merong 5 na nagsasabi na hindi nakaka-apekto, meron namang 15 na nagsasabi na nakaka-apekto siya. So that is what you call conflicting findings. Dito naman, employees' motivation, 11 authors found out that motivation can affect job commitment, yung check na yan, and 9 authors found out that motivation does not affect the commitment of the employees, and so on and so forth. Ibig sabihin, from this figure, malalaman mo na kagad kung alin dyan ang merong blind spot. So kung merong blind spot, it's an automatic yes, go, you may proceed with your study. Hindi ka pwedeng gumawa ng research paper mo nang wala kang blind spot. So halimbawa, itong first pair, gusto mong 1 IV and 1 DV lang. Ito yung DV mo, job commitment. At 1 IV lang, job satisfaction. Gusto mo nang kalimutan ng iba kasi masyadong toxic na kung masyadong marami. So kung meron ng blind spot, saka ka palang magde-develop ng title. So tingnan nyo ha, ngayon pa lang kayo magde-develop ng title. So what can be the title? Focus your eyes on IV and DV. Pwede mong sabihin na employees' job satisfaction and its influence on their job commitment. So that will be your title now. You develop a title because you found out that there is a need to conduct a study because there is a gap, and the gap is represented by the conflicting findings or blind spot in the literature. So I hope that is clear to everyone. So if I still have little time, I would like to discuss very briefly the parts of a publishable research paper, because that's the trend now. We need to publish our research paper. So the first part, of course, syempre kailangan may title ka. Kanina, as I've mentioned, you develop your title, and that is followed by the name of the authors of the paper, followed by the abstract. According to an American Psychological Association format, the abstract must not be more than 120 words. But some journal management na magagaling din naman in journal management, they allow up to 200. So to be safe, you can come up with an abstract that is 120 to 200 words, no? Binanggit ko na kanina, it must have an objective, methods, results or findings, and conclusion. So that is an abstract. Followed by, that's an example of abstract. Tingnan nyo, merong structured and unstructured. When you say structured, dinivide siya into 4. Aim, merong subheading, aim, methods, results, and conclusion. Pero pag unstructured siya, ibig sabihin, wala na mga subheading na yan. One paragraph siya, combined in one paragraph. So hindi mo na kailangan ng subheading. And then for you to know, by the way, the trend right now, for you to know whether the paper is really published or not, you look for the DOI, or the Data Object Identifier, because that will tell you whether the research paper is really published. If you copy that and paste in the URL or search engine of the Google, lalabas yung site kung saan nakapublish yung research paper. That is DOI. The advantage also of reading the first page of the article is having a knowledge about the email address of the author. Kasi just in case, you need the instrument or the questionnaire that was used by the previous author, you can email him or her and ask for a reliable instrument that they used during their study. So that's the purpose of looking at the first page of the paper, to look also for the email address of the author. So introduction is actually the first part of the IMRAD paper is introduction. This is the careful presentation of the importance and validity of the problem. You need to ensure that the panel members or the reader was able to discover a problem in your paper. You need to convince the panel member that your problem is important and valid. How? By presenting a gap, either blind spot or blank spot. There should also be a systematic and orderly presentation of background information with educational trends related to the problem, unsolved issues, and social concerns. In short, I'd like to give you an approach. This is a TIOC approach in writing your introduction. First, you highlight the trends in the field. That is letter T. The trends in the field. As the term implies, trend, mga makabago yan. Huwag kang gagamit ng mga 1900s, 1800s na references. Dapat mga, according to CHED, no less than 5 years. So if today is 2020, dapat mga 2014 man lang ang iyong pinakaluma. Kasi trending yan eh. Trends about the field. So if your topic is about teaching strategy and academic performance, you should be presenting information about teaching strategies and academic performance. Kung gagamit ka ng lumang reference at ang topic mo ay teaching strategy, baka ang mabasa mo pa doon, chalk and board, Manila paper, cartolina, no? Yun ang mga makalumang teaching strategy. But if you use updated references, you will be provided on the most innovative and updated strategies in teaching. So that is the importance in identifying an updated reference. So that is letter T. After you highlight the trends, you pinpoint the issues. Ito na yung blind spot or blank spot. What are the issues? What are the gaps underlying the trends, underlying teaching strategy and academic performance? So pwede mo sabihin dito na, in the study conducted by Santos in 2015, online education does not significantly influence the academic performance of the students. However, in 2019, Cruz et al. Found out that the use of technology and online education can significantly affect the academic achievement of the students. So see, yun ang role ngayon ng iyong literature. Pag aaway-awayin mo sila, there should be contradicting or conflicting findings. Ang role mo ngayon bilang researcher, ikaw ang arbiter. Ikaw ngayon ang magsosolve. Ikaw ngayon ang mag-hypothesis testing. No? After presenting the issues, you state the overall objective or intent of the paper in the light of the gap identified. So pwede mo sabihin na based on the foregoing conflicting findings in the literature, it is now the intent of the researcher to discover whether online education would have an effect on the academic achievement of the students. So that is how you state the overall objective or intent of the paper. And of course, finally, do not forget to discuss the possible contribution of your research, either contribution in actual practice in developing a policy. Halimbawa, you discovered that online education pala can really improve the academic performance, then alugin mo na ang DepEd na dagdagan na ang computers sa lahat ng public school sa Pilipinas kasi nakaka-improve pala siya ng academic performance. No? Alugin mo na ang DepEd na i-reallocate sa MOOE yung budget lakihan doon sa technological infrastructure. At meron ng senator ngayon na senator ba o congressman na sinasabi sa NTC or National Telecommunication, si Popoy de Vera pala, I'm sorry, Prospero de Vera, na sinasabi sa NTC na magbigay ng free access, parang ganun, for learning. So that's what you call contribution. So hindi lang sa policy or sa practice, pati sa research, sa body of research, you will be adding another valuable findings in the body of literature. And that is the most important part in doing a research paper. So that's how you do your introduction. You highlight the trends, you pinpoint the issues, you state the overall objective, and you provide them possible contribution. By the way, writing a research paper is not about the number of pages. It's not about the number of paragraphs. It's not about the length of your paper. It's not about the thickness of your research paper. It's about the substance. It's about how you make sense of the literature. Ganun po ang pagsusulat ng research paper. Kasi akala nila, yung mga traditional researcher, mas makapal ang paper mo, mas maganda. Hindi po totoo yun. Makapal nga, kinapi-paste naman lahat sa Google, wala ring kwenta. Puro plagiarism ang ginawa. So that is introduction. No? And of course, some journal management would allow you to review literature. Sinabi ko na yan kanina, there should be a systematic presentation of literature that are related to the problem. And there should be adequacy of presentation with reference to problem, research designs, and significant findings. When you discuss the theoretical framework, there should be a clear presentation of the theory which explains why the study exists. Meaning to say, the theory is the backbone of your research paper. It's like a human organism. Hindi tayo mukhang tao kung wala tayong skeletal system, kung wala tayong buto. Imagine mo, wala tayong buto, di uod ang itsura natin, mukha tayong worm. Ganon din ang theoretical framework that provides the skeletal framework or the theory and explain why the study exists. And there should also be an appropriate development of conceptual frame with reference to the problems of the study. So dyan lalabas yung mga models mo, yung IVDV model, kung nasa IT ka, IPO model, CIPO model, etc., etc. Whatever model is that, dyan lalabas sa theoretical and conceptual framework. Now, I'd like to give you another approach. We call it SEC approach in writing your theoretical framework. What is S? Rule number 1, you state the theory. In stating the theory, you may use the following suggested sentence systems. Pwede mong sabihin na, halimbawa, ang theory mo is law of supply and demand. Pwede mo sabihin na, the theoretical basis of this paper is the law of supply and demand. Or, this study is theoretically anchored on the law of supply and demand. Or, this paper is premised on the law of supply and demand. Parang gano'n. So, pwede mong gamitin yan when you state the theory. But of course, it does not end from stating the theory. You also need to explain the theory. So, pwede mo sabihin na, this paper is premised on the law of supply and demand, comma, which states that, saka mo explain ngayon kung ano ibig sabihin ng law of supply and demand. Again, hindi kailangan masyadong mahaba, basta ma-explain mo properly yung law of supply and demand, that is okay already. And followed by contextualization of the theory. Contextualization is the localization of the theory. That is where the IVDV model can be presented now. So kung kanina nag-present ka ng theory, pag sinabing contextualization, saka kayo ngayon magkakaroon ng conceptual model of the study, no? So that can be part of introduction. Some journal management would require you to make a statement of the problem. But statement of the problem is a clear identification of the problem statement. It must be succinct and ambiguous statement of specific problems related to the major problem. Pakitandaan po na kapag gumawa tayo ng objectives or statement of the problem, by the way, kaya ako ginawang slash yan, kasi po parehas lang sila. They mean the same, they are just stated differently. Statement of the problem, patanong, yung objectives nag-uumpisa sa word na to assess, to determine, pero they mean the same. The rule of thumb is that you develop your objectives or problem statement based on your IV and DV model. If you have one IV and one DV, pwede ka na magkaroon ng dalawang possible na objectives. And meron ka pang line connecting the IV and DV. That's another problem. No? So the IV and DV can be called univariable questions. But when you connect already or identify the effect of the IV to the DV, we call it bivariable question. Ibig sabihin ng uni, isa lang, pag bi, dalawa. So you can have, if you have an IV and DV, you can have three possible problem statement or objectives of the study. So this is followed by methodology. When you say methodology, you need to be familiar with the basic concepts or nomenclature of research. When you say research approach, the concern is how data will be treated. If your nomenclature is research method, your concern is how data will be gathered. If your nomenclature is research technique, your concern is what data will be gathered. So those are basic concepts in methodology. But what is important is you are able to identify your specific research design. Kanina, nag-identify ka ng blind spot or blank spot. So kung ang iyong study, kung ang iyong problem ay blank spot, dapat sa methods, qualitative ang i-discuss mo. Kung sa literature review, ang nakita mo ay blind spot, dapat ang design mo ay quantitative. But of course, quantitative research and qualitative research design, including mixed designs, ay napakalaking topic pa po noon. Hindi ko po may discuss ngayon kasi po ay malapit na po ang oras ko. Isang oras na po binigay sa akin ng Vival. But that is the idea about methodology. You also need to discuss the respondents of the study. You should be familiar with the probability and non-probability sampling design, and you should be able to discuss the sampling size. There are scientific methods in determining the sample size that I cannot discuss right now. Generic lang muna ang ibibigay ko ngayon. And then this is followed by instrument of the study. As I've mentioned a while back, instrument may be in two forms. No? It may be standardized or researcher constructed. When you say standardized, ibig sabihin, in-adapt mo na yan from the previous studies at meron na siyang reliability and validity indices. Ano yung reliability and validity indices? Cronbach's alpha. Cronbach's alpha is ranging from 0 to 1. The higher the value, the greater the validity and the reliability. So the accepted value is 0.7. Yun po yung hahanapan yung Cronbach's alpha ng instrument, 0.7. But of course, you are not discouraged to develop your own instrument. You can develop your own instrument. However, you will undergo the tedious process in validating and subjecting your instrument to reliability procedures. So again, ang validity and reliability testing, medyo mahabang topic din siya. I cannot discuss right now due to limited time. In data gathering procedure, right now that we are in the new normal, you may use Google Forms, I've mentioned that a while back, email, online interview through FB Messenger, Zoom, or phone calls. And finally, part ng IMRAD natin is data process methodology, is data processing and statistical treatment. We are in the Industrial Revolution 4.0, so the use of manual computation is no longer advised. Marami na tayong softwares na pwedeng gamitin para mag-compute. Pero what is important is that all your questions must be answered by your statistical treatment. If your problem or your question is univariable, panigurado yan, gagamit ka ng descriptive statistics. Kapag po ang problem mo is bivariable or multivariable, gagamit ka na po ng inferential statistics. Again, mahabang topic, hindi ko kayang ma-discuss ngayon yon. Pero that's the rule of thumb. I-relate mo ngayon yung iyong problem statement sa mga statistical tools. Dapat naka-align sila. No? And of course, yung IMRAD natin, introduction, methods, this time, results and discussion. The requirement is that kung ano po yung objectives ninyo na sinet kanina, yun lang ang bibigyan nyo ng results or findings. Results are different from discussion. When you say discussion, you will now go back to literature and try to digest the literature because some of the findings of the previous literature may be corroborating or may be contradicting with your current findings. That's how you do the discussion. You now relate the findings of the previous literature to your current findings. So, pwedeng magkadugtong yan, results and discussion. After presenting the result, you make a discussion of your paper. And of course, conclusion. Again, as I've mentioned a while back, the conclusion should be based on data. Kasi if you make a conclusion that is not based on data, chismis po yan. Mortal sin po sa research and chismis. Bawal na bawal po yan. Do not forget that there is an APA format in presenting your references, no? Hindi ko na babanggitin yung content ng APA kasi downloadable naman ng APA. You just type that in the Google. You can, ang tawag doon, independent learning. Pwede mo nang i-download ngayon lahat ng gusto mong matutunan based sa mga ni-lecture ko today. But of course, the last part of your paper is references. So again, this is an example of a downloaded article na hindi ko na isa-isahin kasi nabanggit ko na yan kanina. Introduction, methods, results, and discussion. Sample lang po yan. And then of course, after that, references. APA. I think that would be all. I would like to thank all of you for your kind listening. If there will be clarifications, I would be glad to listen. I would be glad to answer your questions.
Hello, Doc. Good morning po.
Hi, good morning.
Yan po, Doc. I'll just be reading some of the questions raised by our participants this morning. Ayan po.
Yeah.
So, Doc, from teacher Sherry Clay. Sir, in international publications, they follow the IMRAD format. In our case here in the Philippines, we still use
I'm sorry, medyo
the
medyo hindi
format
maintindihan. Choppy please.
of chapters 1
Choppy po.
to 5.
Ma'am Kia? Ma'am Kia, choppy po.
Do you suggest the IMRAD format to be used in the academy instead?
Nako po, madam,
Clear na po,
pasensyahan
Doc?
po. Ay, one more time, nag-choppy po, medyo nag-robot kanina. One more time, baka makuha na natin this time. Do I agree? Do I recommend the IMRAD format? I'm sorry, again?
Hello po, Doc. Clear na po?
Ayan, better,
Hello po.
better.
Ayan po,
Walang
better
problem
po.
sa
Ayan.
English.
Sensya na, Doc. Ayan po.
Okay lang
Okay po.
po.
Doc,
Okay.
from teacher Sherry Clay, in international publications, they follow the IMRAD format. In our case here in the Philippines, we still use the format of chapters 1 to 5. Do you suggest, Doc, the IMRAD format to be used in the academe instead? Yan po.
Yeah, if I will be given the chance, if I am, for example, a president of a certain university and will come up with a policy in terms of research, because you know what? Everything has to be approved by the president. No, the deans, the directors of research are just following instruction from the president. But if I will be given the chance to make a decision, I will 100% recommend the use of IMRAD format instead of utilizing chapters 1 to 5. Because yung chapters 1 to 5 natin, unang-una, nagsasayang lang tayo ng ink dyan. Pangalawa, sa pandemic crisis natin na nire-require na magpa-hardbound, delikado nga maglalabas ngayon paano ka magpapa-hardbound. Pangalawa, makakatipid ka pa kung hindi kailangan ng hardbound. Kaya if you're gonna ask me, teacher, I would highly recommend that IMRAD format be utilized, no? Para pagkatapos ng defense nyo sa school nyo, ng IMRAD format mo, pwede mo na siya i-publish right away. Ready na siya for publication. Unlike kung chapters 1 to 5 yan, magko-convert ka pa. Although ikakal mo naman yun doon sa chapters 1 to 5 mo, but still, you will convert your chapters 1 to 5 to IMRAD format. And as I've mentioned a while back, there are strategies, no, that are being used for your paper to be able to get published, no? And sadly, in the Philippines, not everyone is familiar with IMRAD. Even our seasoned researchers, seasoned professors, they're not familiar with IMRAD. They are still accustomed to, they are traditional, and they are comfortable using the traditional chapters 1 to 5. I'm sorry, sana wala akong nasasagasaan, pero sinagot ko lang po yung tanong. If I will be asked to recommend the use of IMRAD, yes, by all means, yes. Bakit? Para ready na kagad siya sa publication.
Okay po, Doc. Thank you very much po. Next question, Doc, from Mr. Sherwin Vil Soto. Does the complexity of my statistical
Yes,
treatment
copy ka
affects
po. Siguro, saan ko pwede mabasa yung mga tanong nila if ever nagcha-choppy ka, madam, para masagot ko? Merong internet connection yata si madam, kaya nawawala siya.
Hello po, Doc.
Ayan,
Ayan
better.
po.
Sige na po.
Sige po. Doc, from Sir Sherwin Vil Soto.
Sir Sherwin.
Apa. Thus the
Ay, nawala na naman. That's the...
complexity of my statistical treatment affects my
I think we're having connection
chances
problem.
of getting my paper.
Ay,
That's the complexity, again, madam, sorry. That's the complexity of...
hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Yan. Question po from Sir Sherwin Vil Soto. Does the complexity of my statistical treatment affect my chances of getting my paper published?
I think that's a good question. That's the common misconception of research writers. The complexity of your statistical tool will not guarantee you that your paper will be approved for publication. What publication management is looking into, first, whether there is a gap in the literature. Second, whether you were able to answer your objectives accordingly. No? Hindi kailangan yan pahirapan ng mga statistics. Kasi there are so many statistical treatment, for example. If you would like to correlate, for example, two variables that are interval in nature, numerical. Tapos, meron ka namang two variables na categorical or nominal. Hindi pwedeng parehas ng stat tool lang gagamitin mo doon. Let's say IQ is numerical and academic performance is numerical also. Pearson R ang gagamitin mo. That's the condition for Pearson R. When you correlate two variables, they must be numerical. But if your variables, for example, are gender and occupation, which are non-numerical, which are categorical in nature, hindi ka nagagamit ng Pearson R. Chi-square na yung gagamitin mo. So, I think it's not about complexity. It's about the accuracy, no? Whether you correctly identify the statistical tool that will answer the problem of your research paper. That's my answer to the question.
All right, sir. Another question po from Sir Christian Santos. Do you have any suggestions on how we may teach students during this time of pandemic, especially for SHS?
For research subject.
Yes po.
Yeah. The common problem now of senior high school students, especially if you are in the public school, is their internet connection. No? Now, given the chance that they have good internet connection, there are so many platforms that can be utilized. That's why I am highly advocating the use of flexible learning. Na ibig sabihin, if the student and the teacher is comfortable with the use of learning management system and the technology and internet are sufficient, then they can use learning management system. Ang tawag doon ay synchronous learning. Ibig sabihin, sabay-sabay silang natututo. Parang katulad dito ngayon, this is a webinar. I'm sure na ang nakakapag-participate lang dito yung mayroong mga good internet connection. This is synchronous. O paano magiging asynchronous? When you record your lecture and post it in the social media, in your page, and your students access your video lecture when they have the internet connection already, that becomes asynchronous. And to me, aside from YouTube, aside from video presentation, you can send them modules. No? Kung meron silang email address, you can send them modules. Kung yung PowerPoint mo naman ay kompleto na, kasi tayo mga teachers, pag gumagawa ng PowerPoint, minsan bulleted lang eh, hindi natin lahat nilalagay, di ba? Yan ang turo sa atin eh. Kasi boring na kapag lahat ng lecture mo nilagay mo sa PowerPoint, tapos binasa mo na lang ng binasa. Pero if in case naman kompleto na yung PowerPoint mo, pwedeng yun na lang i-send mo. Pwede ka magbigay ng supplemental reading. Kung merong internet connection, pwede ka magbigay ng mga websites, link, kung saan sila pwede mag-aral. Parang ganon. The point here, during the pandemic crisis, no, and we would like to implement flexible and online learning, as the term implies, flexible, we need first to survey the available technology and the quality of internet connection that our students have. Kasi however good we are in providing online lectures, in providing webinar, etc., etc., but if your students cannot access you because of those problems, hindi rin nila ma-access yun. So that's the current problem right now. So therefore, the option is that you do a module, you create a module na pwedeng gawing self-study, independent learning, and then send them through email. Or kung ikaw ay naka-unli sa Globe, pwede kayong mag-lecture one-on-one, phone call kayo, tuturuan mo siya. Messenger, ang mga estudyante natin, active na active, pwede kang mag-post sa FB, ako ginagawa ko sa research class ko, meron kaming FB group kung saan pinopost ko yung mga PowerPoint lectures ko, yung mga video presentations ko, lahat ng announcement, etc., etc. nandoon. Asynchronous, kasi I totally understand na meron mga estudyante na mahina talaga ang internet connection. Lalo sa senior high school, sa DepEd, na mahina talaga internet connection. So, yung mga teachers na nandito, I think yun ang kalampagin ninyo sa DepEd. Na yung budget, instead of infrastructure development, dapat i-realign sa technological development. Mag-subscribe, bumili ng mga matataas na bandwidth, etc., etc., para mas maging maganda ang connection. That's my point. Nasagot ko kaya yung tanong?
Ayan. All right, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Nuki, for giving us the opportunity to have you for this webinar. Thank you also to all the viewers we have every day, especially those who tuned in today. So, ayun po.
Can I say something before we end?
Go po, sir.
Ayan, of course, I'd like also to thank all those who listened to my lectures today, although I know some of you have been my students already. Still, thank you for watching. And for those who would like to learn more about research, I have a YouTube channel. It's Alvin Nuki, ALVIN-NUQUI, Alvin Nuki. Search nyo lang po doon. I am uploading research lectures that could help you, no, para makabuo ng inyong research. And try to subscribe and follow my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. At syempre po, kung nandito pa kayo, gusto kong batiin yung grupo ko ng Diamonds na nakikinig din ngayon. Maraming salamat sa inyo. At sa lahat ng estudyante ko, naging advicees, na kahit na advice ko na, nandito pa din. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Thank you for your kind listening. God bless and keep safe, everyone.